Michelle Winkley, weeknights on News 3.
It's election night for parts of the Brazos Valley. We have results. A number of protesters were in Dallas asking for stricter gun laws. And in Sutherland Springs, construction begins for a new church. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Clay Falls. Whitney Miller has the night off. It's election Saturday for a number of counties across the Brazos Valley, starting with State District 13. And final numbers are still coming in tonight for State Representative District 13. The latest show Ben Lamont with an edge over Jill Wolfskill. It fills the vacant seat left by Leighton Schubert. He resigned to take a job at Blinn College. The winner will take on Democrat Cecil Ray Webster in the runoff in November. And in Snook, a very close decision for Proposition A, the $7.5 million bond passed by one vote. Proposition B failed with 47% in favor and 53% against. The $725,000 bond would have built a new softball complex. Improvements coming from Proposition A will include a new cafeteria, weight room, parking, and a career technical education addition. It also includes improvements for athletics with a multi-purpose football stadium and track, as well as a concession stand and restroom facility. The baseball fields will also be improved. I spoke with Superintendent Brenda Kirknock following the election, and she told me, "I'm pleasantly surprised and I'm excited about the future opportunities to provide facilities for our kids and the programs that we have. And I'm excited that the majority of the voters that came out supported the school district. It's a great day to be a Blue Jay." Over in Caldwell, improvements won't be coming to the high school or other campuses. Voters there were 48% in favor and 52% against the more than $28.3 million bond. The bond would have brought major improvements to the high school campus with new additions to remove portable buildings. They also wanted to build a new high school gym. Superintendent Andrew Peters told me earlier this week they thought this bond had plenty of focus on academics.
The previous bonds that the community tried were really focused on athletics and some other things and more of wants rather than needs. And we've really tried to focus on needs with this bond.
The district had not hired an architect to do any renderings. Peters told me he wanted to wait to see how voters decided. In the race for Beedi's mayor, it was Mackie Bobo White against Gwen Bouillon. Gwen Bouillon takes the win tonight with 52% of the vote. Voters in Beedi's also had to decide whether alcohol should be sold within the city limits. That passed in favor tonight with 58% of the vote. Over in Normandy, in the race for mayor, Troy Noe takes on Gary Dawkins. Troy Noe is your winner with 62% of the vote this evening and will be the next mayor of Normandy. Well, yesterday it was rain and thunderstorms across the valley, and we hit the 70s today, but it was a good day to be out, play golf, just have a really good time.
It was, and you know, you couldn't use weather if you did have one of those runoff elections here today, Clay. Weather wasn't the reason that you couldn't make it out there. So beautiful weather, and you mentioned the yesterday, 77 degrees is what we topped out with. That was before the rain and thunderstorms moved in. Here in Bryan and College Station, officially we picked up just over 3/4 of an inch of rain. Now today it was more about some gusty winds that blew in some drier air. More sunshine, highs in the very seasonable low to mid 80s across the Brazos Valley. This is exactly what an early May day is expected to look like. More beautiful weather heads your way. High pressure and firm control over the desert southwest. That will give us great weather for tomorrow, but eventually it will turn our back on us. And when you look at the forecast, there may be a few things that you're just not ready to see just yet. We'll get you those details in a bit. First, though, in the morning, it will feel comfortably cool. Temperatures in the upper 50s for a very few brief, short hours, which details on all of it here in just a bit.
Thank you, Shell. A rally for gun control was held outside Dallas City Hall. The rallies coincided with the NRA meeting being held. More than 70,000 NRA members are at the group's annual meeting, which featured an appearance and speech by President Trump on Friday. Those attending the meeting will listen to political speeches, check out the latest firearms, and attend gun training courses. But hundreds of people, including students and survivors of gun violence, rallied outside the convention center advocating for gun control legislation.
We hope to send a message to political leadership as well as the leadership in the NRA that we're not just students that are going to gather and go right back home.
The protesters were also out yesterday. A pro-gun rally was held right after. Police say it was not scheduled at the same time to prevent any clashes between the groups. A family of 8 is without a home in Houston after a 2-alarm fire broke out at a mattress warehouse in Houston's 2nd Ward. The blaze spanned 2 blocks, damaging 2 homes and destroying an HFD fire truck. It caught fire, and as firefighters were battling those flames, one firefighter was taken to the hospital as a precaution. In Sutherland Springs, a groundbreaking ceremony was held for the congregation's new church. Today marks 6 months since 26 people were shot and killed at the First Baptist Church. Survivors, neighbors, first responders, and lawmakers all gathered at the site of where the new sanctuary will be built.
I hope that those who remember the tragedy will know that out of the blood of the martyrs and the strength of the victims, that the survivors that are still here, that they rebuilt and are glorifying God.
The new church is being paid for by donations. The Brazos Valley African American Museum invited area residents to explore a special exhibit provided by the Smithsonian. A new exhibit called Hometown Teams is on display at the Brazos Valley African American Museum in downtown Bryan. The exhibition covers themes like the home team, our American spirit, and at every age, and sports and culture. Bryan High cheerleaders came out to the grand opening to show support of our hometown team, the Bryan Vikings.
And this exhibit talks about how sports influences our lives. And so we have today our grand opening tailgate, and we're excited to have the community come see this Smithsonian that talks about sports.
The Brazos Valley African American Museum is one of 7 to show this exhibit. The exhibit is open until June 9th during regular operating hours. It was a very busy day at Lake Walk Town Center. The Children's Museum hosted a duck derby, an annual fundraising event where thousands of ducks raced through Lake Atlas. This year they also had a 5K and 10K race with prizes. The grand prize is a scooter.
We really live in such a supportive community for all kinds of nonprofits, and we're thankful to be a part of kids' education here in the community. All
proceeds from the event help the Children's Museum of the Brazos Valley fund new projects like their Play Aggieland exhibit, which looks at the Brazos Valley in miniature. Hundreds of people came out to support the Texas A&M Corps of Cadets final review. The Aggie tradition is the last activity for the Corps of Cadets before summer, and it's held at Simpson Drill Field. It is a full military review of the entire Corps where the transition of command also takes place. The senior cadets pass the baton and cheer on the new cadets for the 2018-2019 school year.
It feels amazing. It's been a challenging 4 years, but 4 years it's really kind of defined who I am. And, you know, it's taken me from where I was and made me who I am, and I'm so proud to have been an Aggie and to have been a member of the Fighting Texas Aggie Corps.
There are currently about 2,300 cadets in the Corps. The final review signals the end of the seniors' time in the Corps of Cadets and the beginning of a new leadership position for the seniors, juniors, and sophomores in the Corps. Well, hundreds of people were at the Brazos County Expo for a fight against cancer. Relay for Life, Brazos County celebrated cancer survivors and honored those who have been lost. The all-day walk benefits the American Cancer Society. The event was sponsored by CHI St. Joseph Health. Well, coming up, thousands of residents in Hawaii are being evacuated after a volcano erupts. Coming up in sports, we'll recap a busy day of high school baseball playoff action, including Navasota's big win over Leander Glen.
It is more sunshine for your weekend plans. We're going to cruise through this with some beautiful weather. Heading into the week, still sunshine, but we've got some changes, and they may get a little sweaty. Pinpoint Forecast has the details next.
Closed captioning on News 3 is sponsored by Atkinson Toyota.
Check us out anytime 24/7 on the web at atkinsontoyota.com.
As the nation joined as one to salute the life of Barbara Pierce Bush, News 3 was proud to share some of life's greatest memories, made right here at home, remembering her impact and all she means to the Brazos Valley. Together as one and as many, to honor a life of love, pride, and purpose. May we all leave a lasting impact that changes lives, the impact that will never be forgotten.
It's all about people, it's all about home, working together, loving our own.
And I am here to tell you that Kathleen is going to be the woman of the year.
This is for you. News 3, this is your news.
News 3 weather from the Pinpoint Forecast team is sponsored by the Bank and Trust, local bank, local bankers, and now local weather.
This time last night, we had a few patches of drizzle, a little sprinkle activity moving through the Brazos Valley. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, you'll see it pop up here across our southern counties, mainly Highway 105 and points south, we had a band of rain set up about 2 o'clock to about 4 o'clock. Then it pushed down to the south. That was a cold front. Didn't really bring in cooler air, but it did help the sunshine come back. I think today turned out to be a pretty pleasant day, especially for all those outdoor events that Clay was talking about. Lemonade Day, whatever your Saturday brought to you, it was a good one. All of our active weather, though, moved across portions of Tennessee, Kentucky, especially if you watch the Kentucky Derby today. The rainiest Kentucky Derby ever. Over 3 inches of rain and still falling out there. That's continuing to move off towards the north. But we've got high pressure over the desert southwest that will slowly inch its way towards the state of Texas. There is a storm system sitting off the west coast, but this high pressure will keep that bubble over the state, and that means that we're going to continue with this quiet weather for several days. Live eye look over the south side of town from the Baylor Scott & White live eye camera. If you look closely, you can see the moon kind of twinkling out there. Otherwise, it's comfortable. 70 officially for town. It's a little cooler across the north side of town over at Coulter Field at 68 in Bryan. Winds have come down quite a bit, only from the north at about 0 to 5 miles per hour. Not a whole lot of breeze out there, and we don't expect much of one over the next 24 hours. Temperatures at this hour, anywhere from the low 60s in a few locations. 61 up there in Centerville, 66 in Huntsville, low 60s in Conroe, to a few 70s, Anderson, Navasota, Madisonville right now in the mid 60s. We don't have optimal conditions for what we call radiational cooling, but pretty close. You've got the clear skies, you've got these calm winds, and there's some humidity out there. There's some moisture in the atmosphere, but it's not a lot. So I think first thing tomorrow morning when the sun comes up, you'll want to get outside because temperatures should be comfortable, and they're going to be the coolest that we're going to have for at least the foreseeable future. Upper 50s for many, low 50s from places like Hearn, mid 50s out there in Cameron, to a few 60s, but it will be a very comfortably cool start to the day that warms very quickly. High pressure at the surface is setting up over the southwestern side of the state. That'll keep a northerly wind with us. Average high for this time of the year is the low 80s. We're going to shoot just above, but I think you're still going to like what you find. 86 degrees with nothing but blue sky, maybe a high cloud slipping in here and there. Temperatures already in the 70s by 10 o'clock, mid 80s in the afternoon, and again, very light wind, anywhere from 83 to 86 is what we'll call it to wrap up the weekend and get outside and enjoy. So again, 83 is your average high for this time of the year. We've put it off, I think, for as long as we can, but this week, Monday will come close, if not touch 90 degrees, and I think by Tuesday, with a breezier westerly component, it is very possible to see the first 90-degree reading here in the Brazos Valley. Winds will turn out of the south for Wednesday and Thursday, so I think we're going to keep it just below 90, but that is going to pump in more Gulf moisture, which means it feels like the low to mid-90s for most of next week, a very quiet week. We're going to deflect all of our weather systems, which will be pretty active across the northern side of the country, and you have to go until Friday to get just a 10% chance for rain. Same for Saturday, 1 week from today, but by that point, this all begins to break down. The next weather system dives across the Rockies, and there's still a whole lot of wiggle room because this is still way over a week away, but Mother's Day Sunday, that's a week plus one, may bring us the next chance for rain and thunderstorms here in the Brazos Valley. So until then, at least it's beautiful weather to get outside and enjoy, but it's one that you're going to need the sunscreen, Clay, and it's one that you're going to need plenty of water because it's going to get a little toasty around the Brazos Valley with those highs dancing around 90s, and again, it'll feel plenty much like it, especially once we get to the middle and end part of next week.
Like you said, sunscreen, man, it's already May, so around 90 degrees. We start to anticipate this, though, this time of year and creeping into summer next month.
90 so. we officially expect in the beginning of June, but it's not out of the question in May.
Central Texas weather for you. Thank you very much, Shell. Well, residents in Hawaii are reeling after an earthquake and a volcano erupts in the same week. The massive volcano continues to erupt on Hawaii's Big Island, sending lava into residential neighborhoods and toxic gas into the air. The island of 200,000 people has also been rocked by earthquakes, including its most powerful earthquake in over 40 years. Carter Evans is there.
Oh my gosh.
A powerful 6.9 magnitude earthquake struck the Big Island on Friday, the largest in 43 years. Since then, several new eruptive cracks have opened up in the residential community of Leilani Estates.
Crazy.
Each hundreds of yards long, splashing lava into the air and flooding streets. 2 houses have burned so far and thousands evacuated.
The smoke is really getting thick and you can really smell it in the air.
This part of the Big Island has seen some major lava flows before. This one happened in 1955. It went all the way to the ocean. That smoke back there is where the new eruption is.
Kilauea is the youngest and most active volcano on the Big Island. Just a few miles from the current lava flow, at a community meeting, authorities tried to explain the unpredictability of the volcanic cracks.
All of a sudden one opened up, steam started coming out, and a red lava. That's how fast it was happening.
Talmadge Magno, administrator for Hawaii County Civil Defense, says at least 6 active fissures have opened up so far.
You know, we're starting to see a pattern, a kind of a line.
And it could continue happening.
Yes.
And we really don't know how long.
Yes, that's the sad part about it. It could be happening for a long time. Or on the other end, like I said, mysteriously, it could just end.
There is definitely still a lot of volcanic activity here. We felt several earthquakes last night, and water is now becoming an issue. Authorities are urging people to restrict usage as the lava approaches one of the major water mains in the area. Carter Evans, CBS News, Pahoa, Hawaii.
Coming up next in sports, we'll let you know which Brazos Valley High School baseball teams are moving on in the playoffs. Plus, take you to Olson for Game 2 of Texas A&M series with top-ranked Florida. Those stories and more coming up next.
Climbers are sponsored by Norman G Tractor. Nobody beats Norman G Tractor. Get your weather online anytime. A public service sponsored in part by Producers Cooperative.
Sports is sponsored by Allen Honda, corner of Southwest Parkway and Highway 6. Allen's got your Honda. From the KBTX Sports Center, News 3 Sports starts now.
The top-ranked Florida Gators flexed their muscle at Olson Field last night, shutting out Texas A&M 9-0 in the series opener. Aggies hoping to get back on track this afternoon, and even the series at a game apiece. The Gators looking to keep their season-long streak of winning every SEC series they've played in going. No score till the third in this one. Gators have the bases loaded. Great play by Michael Hellman here off the bat of Jonathan India, but the Aggies can't turn two. Blake Reese makes it 1-0 Florida. Then, just like last night, the Gators start to open things up in the sixth. J.J. Schwartz singles to bring home India and put the Gators on top by 2. Austin Langworthy follows with a single back up the middle. Will Dalton will cross the dish to push the Gator lead to 3. The Gators' sixth inning scoring capped off with a Blake Reese sac fly that sends Schwartz home. That's more than enough offense for Florida. Gators pick up another win, this time 6-1. Aggies look to avoid being swept by Florida tomorrow at noon. Sam Houston State goes for the series win over Southeastern Louisiana this afternoon. The Cats would battle back from an early deficit in the fifth. Hunter Hearn singles through the left side of the infield. That allows Blake Chisholm to score and tie the game at 4. It would stay that way into extra innings. In the 10th, Lions have runners at second and third, but Dakota Mills ends the threat with a strikeout. Southeastern, however, does strike in the 11th. Drew Avens sends a ball back up the middle that gets through. Cody Gross would score on the single to give the Lions a 6-4 lead. Cats looking to rally in their half. Andrew Frige at the plate representing the winning run, but he grounds out to end the game. Southeastern Louisiana evens up the series with a 6-4 win.
We had our opportunities and we did our best to get back in the game, which was awesome against a really good arm. He's one of the top pitchers in the league, and then just couldn't crack through again, and that's credit to those guys. They defended it when they had to and made pitches when they had to and made big plays when they had to. And I thought both teams played their hearts out. This is what we were expecting going into this series. I think last night's game was kind of the same way. It's going to be a back and forth battle, and the team that capitalizes is going to win this thing. So we'll be back tomorrow. It'll be a brand new day, and I expect we'll get after it.
The rubber match of the series set for a 1 o'clock start tomorrow afternoon in Huntsville. Aggie softball at Alabama, hoping to bounce back from a series opening loss on Friday night. The Aggies get off to a good start. Top of the first, Samantha Shao going back up the middle. Tori Vidalis easily scores. Ashley Walters will get in safely as well when the ball gets away from the catcher. A&M up 2-0, but Shao unable to keep the lead she helped herself get. She allows back-to-back Bama home runs in the first inning as the Tide takes a 3-2 lead. Then Shao allows a third jack in the second inning. Kaylee Tao, Bailey Hemphill, and Reagan Dykes all leaving the yard to put Bama up for good at 3-2. They'll tack on some insurance in the sixth. Sidney Booker with a 2-run single that slips into left. Alabama wins 10-4. The Aggies try to avoid the sweep on Sunday. High school baseball playoffs. Rudder looking to close out its series against Lindale. Rudder down 3-0 in the third inning. John Munoz rips one up the middle, and that will load the bases for Hunter Dobbins. He will hit a grounder to short. The Eagles get the out at second, but the throw to first off target. Brian Guajardo will score, and Munoz will slide in behind him. That will beat the tag, cutting the Lindale lead to 3-2. However, that's the high point of the day for the Rangers. Eagles pour it on to win Game 2 10-2, and Game 3 goes the Eagles' way as well, 6-2. Lindale wins 2 today and ends the Rangers' season. A&M Consolidated needed 2 wins today, and they got them. 6-3 in Game 1 and 4-3 in walk-off fashion in Game 2. Tigers move on to face Tomball in the area round. Brenham needs to win a pair today against Georgetown to keep its season alive. Offense came at a premium in a game that could become an old-time pitchers duel between Cubs starter Austin Durkowski and Georgetown starter Wesley Gaffer. The duo combined to give up only 3 hits on the day. In fact, Durkowski took a no-hitter into the 5th, but his bid ended with this Cole Posey single to right, giving the Eagles that all-important base runner. And later in the frame, Posey will try to steal third, and the throw goes into the outfield, allowing him to score to give the Eagles a 1-0 lead. And that was all they would need. Georgetown hangs on and beats Brenham 1-0. In Class 4A, Navasota beat Leander Glenn in walk-off fashion, 6-5 in Game 2 to force this Game 3 tonight in Cameron. Not a lot of offense in this one either, but some solid work from Rattler pitcher Hayden Wisnowski to keep the Grizzlies off the board. No score until extra innings. In the 8th, Clayton Ramsey lifts a fly to shallow right center that just does fall in. Thomas Robinson scores to give Navasota a 1-0 lead. Bottom of the inning, same score, Grizzlies running with 2 outs, but Ramsey guns down the runner at third. Navasota wins a pair of 1-run games to advance, taking Game 3 tonight 1-0. Class 3A today, Anderson Shiro's season comes to an end with a 4-2 loss to Pollock Central. New Waverly advances with a 5-4 win over Hemphill. Buffalo beat Maypearl twice today to win that by-district series 2-1. Norman G's season ends with a 13-4 loss to Alto. Douglas eliminates Centerville with a 4-0 victory today. Iola moves on. Bulldogs take care of Deweyville 13-7. And Lovelady wins Game 2 with Groveton, but falls 16-6 in the deciding Game 3. High school softball, Caldwell falls to Waco Robinson 8-3 to end a great season in the area round. Centerville's season comes to an end today, 13-1 to Woden. Big League Baseball tonight, the Diamondbacks and Astros tied at 3 in the 9th inning. Boston Red Sox just took care of Clay Falls Texas Rangers by a 6-5 final. Justify is your winner at the Kentucky Derby this afternoon. He was the favorite. He was able to get the win.
I thought you were going to bring that up on our Rangers, but the Astros are tied up, right?
3-3 Astros
okay.
and Diamondbacks.
My wife will be happy if they can pull that off, and all the Houston fans too. So go Astros tonight.
And at least you already have the Rangers lost card that she can play if the Astros lose too, so you can sympathize with her and not sleep on the couch.
And you guys stayed busy covering all the baseball today around the area. There's
a
lot of games going on.
Lots of playoff games today. Looks like a lot be going on next Friday and Saturday as well.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Cody. We'll have a look at your final look at weather after the break. But first, a quick look outside from our Live Eye Network. Here's the Queen Theater in downtown.
You're watching KBTX, Bryan College Station.
McDonald's lovers out there, here's a record you can try to beat. A man in Wisconsin has been eating Big Macs for over 46 years. This weekend he set the record for most Big Macs consumed with 30,000. He says to this day he doesn't get sick of eating them every day.
There you go. Get out and eat a Big Mac tomorrow if you want, or
it's a lot of burgers.
Whatever you want. Weather's not going to stop you. Temperatures are in the mid-80s after a cool start tomorrow morning. We will very likely see our first 90-degree reading and maybe our second, third, and so on as we work through this week.
All right, stay warm. Wear the sunscreen too, like you said.
Yeah, pretty quiet week of weather. Get it while you can, even if it is going to be a little warm out there, because next week, the week after this upcoming one, looks like that may be a little more active for the Brazos Valley as you expect in the month of May. So if you like some quiet weather, want to get outdoors, that's your time to do it.
That's time to do it. Thank you, Shell. Well, that's all our time tonight. More local news tomorrow night at 10 or anytime on our web channel, KBTX.com.
Thank you for watching News 3 at 10 on KBTX. Local, trusted.